Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Sherry Ebrahimi. I'm the Director of Conferences and Housing Administration at Emory University. And I'm excited to be here today with two awesome colleagues.
Good morning. My name is Ajayi, Assistant Director of Conference Services at Emory University.
My name is John Nussear. I'm the Director of Conference Services at Georgia Tech.
And John and I have known each other a long, long time as crosstown rivals, friends, in running the conference business. But we both have been there sort of from day one with starting and then growing an intern program. Now at Emory, I turned it over to Elijah. He's doing a much better job of running it than I could have ever imagined. But we have found that this has been some of the best business that that we both do. And we're very different campuses with very different conference operations and clients. But the one thing in common is that we both have really robust intern programs that make us a lot of revenue in the summer that we're both really proud of. So we hope that we can answer all of your questions today. Just to get a sense, who has an intern program already? Maybe that's new, okay. And then I'm assuming, are there others ready to start one, hopefully, after this presentation? Okay, very good, half and half.
Good deal. Yeah, absolutely.
So what we hope that you get from this today is that you'll learn the benefits of having an intern housing program and how that can be easier, better, whatever you want to use, than some of the traditional camps and conferences. We hope, since John's at a big public institution, we're at a private institution, hopefully that'll help you relay this back to your institution. And hopefully we'll give you all you need to start one of these programs on your campus if it's right for your campus.
Awesome. So I'm going to talk about our summer intern housing program on our campus at Emory University. And for us, we have two campuses. We have our main campus and we have our Claremont campus. Our Claremont campus has our apartment-style apartments. And so I'm going to refer to our summer intern housing program as SAHIP, because it just rolls off my tongue a little easier. So we have the URC and our CRC apartments on the Claremont campus, which has about 600 beds for URC and 504 for the CRC. And the biggest difference between the two, our URC has 4-bedroom apartment-style apartments, and we have 1 to 3 bedroom style in our CRC. All of our apartments are apartment style. They have a shared common space, the kitchen, and then the living room. What else I want to talk about is our group rates. So with our groups, for me at Emory, there's a lot of factors that come into play. So typically, we need at least 10 interns living on campus to really see a significant discount. But I consider the length of stay. That's a really big factor for us. The payment method. So is it are the interns paying individually, or is the company going to pay for all the interns? So convenience is key for us. Then the style of apartment. So if they're going to get a lot of 1-bedroom apartments, they're more expensive. So our 1-bedroom apartments are $53 a night. Our 4 bedrooms are $29 a night. But if you get a lot of 1-bedroom apartments, I'll help them out there as well. Also, our URL, I just put it here just so that you see it. It's simple and it's easy. So when we're talking to our clients over the phone, I can easily tell it to them so they can easily get to the website. So a URL that's simple, that helps the clients get to your web page that has more information for them. In terms of payments for our program, we do everything is online. We collect all their data, all the information about the internship site. And this past year, we housed over 700 interns. And so with that, it's hard to go to each one to figure out and verify all of them. So we randomly select each intern just to verify their site. And what qualifies them to stay on our campus or part of the intern program is they need to be interning somewhere in the Atlanta area, or they're studying for a bar exam or something educational related that allows them to stay on our campus. One thing we're going to do this year that we have not done in the past is adding a point of sale system. And so that essentially, a lot of our guests, they pay online, but when they show up, they're supposed to pay their May and June rent prior to arriving, but sometimes they don't, and so we'll just tell them to go back to their room and pay once they get back to the room. But Adding the point of sale will help us just go ahead and collect that payment right then and there.
Okay. For Georgia Tech, we're similar in that we offer apartment-style lodging to the majority of our interns. Most of those are at the North Avenue apartments, which are just right down the street here. They were built for the Centennial Olympic Games in '96, and we purposed them for summer use to lodge interns. The convenience is really good. It's right in the city, right down the street from so many different businesses and the MARTA station. We typically have about 850 beds. Like I said, they're mostly apartments that we set aside. However, we do have some traditional style beds available that we offer to groups. We have one that's an internal group that takes us up on that just about every year, but most are apartments. We typically have about 15 to 20 internal intern or, like you said, educational research groups that we put underneath the intern lodging program each summer. And that's actually big business. That's one thing that we're going to talk about later about tapping into is your campus departments and the folks that they bring in that could be considered, interns. Each summer, it kind of varies between external and individual and group numbers. It's funny, just this week, we had a call with Home Depot to establish a partnership with them. We have a partnership that we've been establishing with Coke. And we also have some partnerships with different universities too, with their career services centers. We spoke with Ole Miss yesterday, and Ole Miss is looking to send us 10 to 15 interns next summer.
Take note, Elijah.
Yeah, see, that's the thing I was worried about this presentation is now we're giving all this information away. But let me just say, though, our operation and our intern program could not be what it is without Sherry. Sherry was humble. She didn't bring this up, but she helped me start this program years ago. So thank you, Sherry, for that.
And I'd like to also add that we do share some of the same clients. So we get some of the same phone calls. Sometimes we cannot help because our dates may not match up. And we refer them right to John, or John do it vice versa. So we're definitely working together with partnership with that.
Right. And how we collect payment, we've actually established, it's called an e-commerce unit underneath our operation, and it really stemmed from this because when we started this program, we were collecting way too much paper. For us, you have to be 18, you have to be a current college student, and you have to have an internship. And when we first started this, and I want to save you guys from this pain, is that we collected proof of all of those things. There's no way you can grow your operation or your intern program if you're collecting that much. So you have to automate it. And one way to automate that is to create an online terms and conditions that folks have to sign off on. And we've been able to do that. We did a presentation, our office did a presentation a few years ago on our e-commerce functions down in New Orleans, and I hope to do another one of those at some point soon where we'll go more in depth into that. But we collect payment through credit card, through web check, and then we've established a customized application called ePay. That's a point of sale service for things, extra items, lost keys, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Do you guys have to have affiliation with the university to stay in? Are there any rules like that to charge tax to?
So the question is, do all the interns have to have a university affiliation, and do we charge tax? So, two things. You have to be really careful here. The students coming to your campus have to have something tied to the educational mission of their education, right? So you're not competing with the Holiday Inn down the street. And so that's really, really important. That's why we also used to collect transcripts. We do verify a good percentage to make sure they're interning where they say they're interning. We're not going to let you stay without an actual, internship or, something like studying for the bar is sort of that exception that we've taken. So yes, you have to make sure there's an educational tie. In terms of taxes, yes, we charge an occupancy tax that we just transfer back to the university when they pay taxes every month.
The only ones that don't get charged tax for us are these internal groups that are
Same.
being sponsored by departments.
Yeah, if an internal department is paying for it, we don't have to. So same with public and private. What I will say to John's point earlier is I think the key if you're starting this is to automate as much as possible. We can do this with very little staff now because the application is online, the payment is online. It sort of brought back PTSD when John mentioned before I had it all online. I mean, the mail and the checks and just the manpower to do all of that took a lot more staff. So what's lovely about this program is it requires very, very little staff. There is no overhead to running an intern program. So all of us here today works in housing, right? Most of us do. We definitely take advantage of that when running an intern program on campus and partner with some Res Life departments. And this is what's, I think, very different when I talk to the folks here that run conferences. There's so many different models about how you do or don't interact with the Residence Life office. So for us, we definitely put everyone on the same campus where our summer school students are and our summer school staff are. And that allows us to share responsibility for the on-call pager. And we're very thankful for that because, yes, as I said earlier, it means we get to hire fewer staff, right? So we definitely combine on-call schedules with the Residence Life on-call staff. We have a very, very small summer school population at Emory. We only have about 150 students who live in summer school housing. So those RAs share on-call for our intern program. It helps us in the very beginning, getting set up. We all sort of jump in and pull together to do room inspections. And I think if you think about it, think about how you staff during the summer. We all have unique structures. Think about how you can use the Residence Life staff that's already in place to help you with some of these things.
In terms of our staffing structure for our SAHIP program, we have 3 separate positions. One is our SAHIP manager. We have 2 conference assistants and about 10 to 12 desk workers. And so for our SAHIP manager, that position is paid a stipend over the summer from May till August for $4,500. But we actually start them in January to help us with a lot of the registrations and the websites and just different things that will help the program run smoothly once the summer arrives. And so we pay an hourly wage for that position. They're also responsible for our social activities. And so this past summer we created a new partnership where we collaborated with intramurals. So during the summertime, intramurals is primarily with summer school students, but we help enhance the program by adding our interns to that. So it's less work on us, but it also helps enhance the intramural program and the experience for our summer interns. For our conference assistants, we have roughly about 5 to 6 conferences that stay on our campus as well, that they also have other needs. So meeting spaces, dining, catering, other things like that. So my conference assistants, they also work, they're assigned to different conference groups, and they help make sure that all those items are taken care of and their needs are met throughout the summer. Our desk workers, they work at our desk, obviously, and they pretty much help with the day-to-day needs of the office. So interns are coming in primarily early in the morning or late in the evening when they get off of work to pretty much handle maintenance issues, concerns, or what have you. There's different things that come up during the office, and they're assisting us with that.
We're in Georgia, so pest control.
Yes.
Yeah, we get a lot of that too.
Yep. And all of our positions are all also offered free housing as well. So that's another perk that the students enjoy. Another thing with the conference assistants, they're paid $3,500. They're given a $3,500 stipend. And our desk workers, they're not paid, but they just get free housing, but they're allowed to take summer classes, work at other jobs in the Atlanta area. So it's really an opportunity for them to get free housing, but also help us in the office.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
How are you able to get around the ACA requirements and offer a stipend rather than an hourly wage for the students?
So we've run into this a lot at conference presentations. And I don't know what to say except that, our
Not
finance
open
team.
Pandora's box.
No, because I mean I've heard it before, right? We've heard it 10 times, and our finance team and our general counsel have signed off on it. So, yep.
I think for us to get around that, because if we, like, you're providing free housing.
And free food for some of our staff
In order
too.
to get away from the tax ramifications of that for your workers, if you are requiring them to live on campus for the benefit of the employer, as opposed to the benefit of the employee, then you get around some of those tax issues or the ACA. Now for some of our, and Jimmy's here with me, so he can help me speak, but for some of our conference assistants, when we treat them as RAs, they are not subject to FLSA and the overtime rules, and so that's kind of how you get around a little bit of the ACA. We limit them to 20 hours a week on average in general, and kind of get around some of those things that way. But like she said, definitely talk with your general counsel, because different universities have
Different interpretation of the law. Yep.
Okay.
And you know, over the years, it's very interesting because over the years, John and his predecessor Dan and I talked a lot about what we were doing, what we were told to do, and they were very different on our campuses, especially regarding taxes. So.
Yep.
So at Georgia Tech, you know, we are. I think it's a great thing when you're underneath the Department of Housing if you're a conference operation. It's because, you know, you have that relationship, and hopefully it's a good one for us. It is with Residence Life, and we're very fortunate to have a really good relationship with our Residence Life folks, and we partner with them in order to run this program. So. For our main building that we utilize over in North Avenue Apartments, we have a hall director that oversees an RA that's on each floor. They handle room inspections. We're very fortunate they handle emergency duty every day from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. They have hall meetings, so every 2 weeks or so, we have new groups of interns come in. They have a hall meeting so they can talk about different procedures and what to expect and answer questions and those kinds of things. Programming is a big one. That's something we get great reviews on every year. That's one thing I think you want to think about adding, is to find a budget line for programming, whether it be an ice cream social or going down to a local sporting event or a museum or something like that. The community building is the big thing that we get high reviews on. And they also help us handle checkout procedures. You know, we kind of partner with them on that. When we have large groups of interns checking out at one time, we centralize the location, we utilize the RAs, and then also our staff in order to do that. Conference Services has a satellite office that's over in the North Avenue apartment complex. We have that staffed 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days, and then obviously at 8 p.m. The emergency duty folks from Res Life take over. All of our folks check in at that location unless we have a large group, and then we may do a satellite check-in where it may be outside under a tent or something like that. Our program, probably should have said this, is called the Intern Lodging Program. That's to try to differentiate ourselves from our partners here. It helps with your web presence a little bit, so think about that. Think about your SEO. We have one full-time professional that we're in the process of hiring. Servanthi Mecca here, our sales and marketing manager, is in charge of running our search committee, and we're getting close to hiring somebody to fill this role. So they're going to oversee our intern program and a number of other things that fall underneath our e-commerce functions. We have one intern that we also try to hire in January or February that works heavily with this program. And then we have a rotation of about 20 conference assistants that work at that satellite office during the week and weekends.
So the benefits of your interns being on campus for us, we have a 30-night minimum, and there's some flexibility with that, but that's what we promote to the public, is that the minimum is 30 nights. And if it's less, because right now, let's say they want to be in a 4-bedroom apartment with $29 a night. Well, if they want 14 nights, well, they're going to pay the 1-bedroom rate. So it'll be $53 a night, and more than likely we'll add on a cleaning fee as well, because typically we're in the business for the longer stay, not the short stay. So that it really impacts our custodial staff if they're having to come back and just keep turning apartments over and over and over. So,
And let me say too, if you don't mind if I hop in real quick, one of the big benefits of this short-term lease is that you don't find that anywhere else. You know, your folks that are looking to sublet, you know, they're going to be locked into probably 2 to 6 months. If you have an extended stay hotel, the price is really going to creep up on you pretty quickly. There just aren't many locations where you're going to find what you find on a college campus for, say, for Georgia Tech, a 14-night minimum. So that's a big marketing piece.
There are a lot of 6-week internships, and those folks really don't have other places to go.
And I mentioned it earlier about our programming that we're doing, and John mentioned it as well too, about just adding to our intramural program and doing other social events on campus. So we'll do things with 4th of July. We have a big pool on our campus as well, so do barbecues from time to time. We'll do a breakfast event. So a lot of interns are obviously going to work at 9 o'clock, so we'll do a 7 a.m. coffee, bagels, whatnot, something they can grab on the go. And then also in the evening time, we'll have some events, some social activities for the interns. Yes.
Under the amenities, when you say library, gym, dining hall, do you guys, is that in your apartment complex, or is that you've worked that out with dining and the rec center or whatever you need to make that?
The question is about the amenities program and how all that is worked out with our campus partners. And so we have a conference card that we give all of our interns, and so it gives them access to these facilities. So it's automatically programmed. So our library is not on our Claremont campus, so they have to take the shuttle to main campus to access the library. But the gym, and there's a small dining hall in our SAC, which is our Student Activity and Academic Center, where it houses our recreation, the pool, weight equipment, and what have you, and that card gives them access to that. And
So it's something to consider when you're starting an intern program. We include gym membership as part of your rate, and parking, and wireless connection. Think about what you can include. I know at Georgia Tech you have to pay an additional fee, but
we bundle parking, we bundle internet now at this point. As far as dining hall, we're very fortunate that we've got a really nice LEED certified dining hall right inside of our complex walls. That folks can purchase a meal plan online when they register, and that's one of the things that we coordinate and we load on a buzz card that's also bundled into their rate. So that dining hall is available, and we have a campus recreation center that is really, really nice. If you guys haven't been by there before, part of the Olympics was also held inside the rec center. That's a little bit further away from where our complex is housed, but folks can purchase a summer membership for the rec center and take the bus over, or they can utilize our in-house facilities, which is we have a full-service gym, and then we also have basketball courts and volleyball courts that are inside the complex. Yeah.
Also, additionally to and talk about fully furnished, each apartment has a washer and dryer inside of the apartment. That's also a perk that the students are looking for. Again, the apartment is fully furnished. As far as in the kitchen, utensils and whatnot, we do not provide that service. But that's one thing we're looking at trying to do this year, is partner with some businesses that will allow us to rent those items out to students, so something to get them started once they move on to campus. So trying to make their temporary housing as convenient as possible, because they're just trying to do their internship and get back home.
One major benefit we talked about a little bit previously was electronic payment. Again, our e-commerce functions really stemmed from trying to create this program. It was based off of a need, and if you can make it as I always go with the mantra that the easier you make it for folks to spend money, the more money they're going to spend. And that's really the idea here. We're in this to generate revenue. We truly are. And to make that as easy as possible is going to benefit you. Not only in your workload, your overhead, but also in your revenue at the very end.
we have 5 minutes.
No, we don't. Really? Wow, I didn't. Okay. Last thing real quick, convenience internship. Georgia Tech is, we're very fortunate that we're close to just a ton of organizations and businesses. And
so in terms of the marketing, I'll talk about the career fair, and then John's going to talk about the other parts. But to do this quickly, career fairs, each campus has their career. A 30.
Oh.
Half hour, not the hour.
Oh, we
Okay.
have 30 more minutes.
Put me into hyperdrive.
All right.
Thank
John, do
you
wanna-
for
Okay.
jumping
Yeah,
in there.
I can start.
Did you get this
Okay.
on film, Georgia Tech?
Now, center back. All right. So when you're marketing this program, one of the things that you want to do, and one of the things we're trying hard to do, is leverage our previous interns and companies. I mentioned a little bit earlier that just this week we began to establish a partnership with Home Depot for a number of their interns. We built a rate tier depending on the number of interns that they send us. The companies like Home Depot and like Coke that we have relationships with, we try to make sure those relationships stay positive, and we continue to approach them and try to stem out from those. Word of mouth is extremely powerful, not just when it comes from individuals, but when it comes from your HR reps and your coordinator reps for these companies. Internet ads, this is an obvious one these days. Google, Facebook, creating a site that Shrivanti does a great job with this. She keeps fresh content on these social media sites, keeps them flowing. That's the idea, is to maintain that content, keep it flowing. Don't allow it to get stale. Always be out in the forefront, be in front of your customers. And last one before I let Elijah take over there is ads in college newspapers. College newspapers, the physical form does still exist, so that's one way of doing it, and it's relatively cheap. The other way to do it, obviously, is they've moved over to an online format, and we've advertised with UGA, with schools in South Carolina, different other southern schools, relatively cheap ads, and they get out to college interns or college students quickly and easily.
In addition to those marketing ideas, is career fairs on your campuses. So partnering with the career center, the career office on your campus, and find out when the career fairs are, and meeting those employers prior to the career fair starting, because this is an opportunity for the employers to promote your housing program, because they're more likely in the area, and so they're saying, hey, if you're working with us, you can also still stay on campus. So again, that's another opportunity to promote your summer intern housing program. Presentations to your campus department, so reaching out to the deans, the professors, the research departments, and just letting them know about the opportunity, because a lot of them are doing some research projects during the summertime, and so their interns are looking for somewhere to stay during the summer. Local attorney offices, and large corporations, as John mentioned before. So we work with Georgia Pacific, CDC, Emory Hospital, Grady. So they're different. Being in a metropolitan area helps tremendously. So that is a big piece of our success here in the Atlanta area. So working with these large companies and letting them know about the opportunities we have. And I think John mentioned it before, is just presenting to them about the opportunities and the amenities that the interns will have access to on your campus. That just helps them sell their internship to their prospect students.
As we've expanded this at Emory, it started out with 25 people my first summer, and now we have 700. Really using the Career Center has been the biggest key to our success. So when we have an alumni partner at a law firm and they're doing the recruiting, they're going to recruit these law students, not just from Emory, but from other schools as well, and help and tell them to live with us. Some of the employers also just want to pay us directly. They want to take care of the housing for their students, and that's even sweeter for you. As many of these groups you can get, like one check from Ernst & Young to pay for 50 people. It's the best business you can do, right? So for those of you who haven't started an intern program yet, you really do have to say, is it right for your campus? And John and Elijah and I all know that we're really fortunate to be in Atlanta, where there's so many companies. But you can do it other places too, where there's any sort of business or faculty on your campus running research programs, or wanting to get a grant, but part of that grant is housing folks for the summer. So I really encourage you to, it may not be 700 people, 800 people, it could be smaller, but it's still really good business. So there is going to have to be, some sort of business, right, to attract these interns. You also want to think about what kind of facilities you have available. Most of our interns tend to be graduate students, and so this is a great way for us to use our apartments, right? They don't want to stay in our traditional double-loaded corridor rooms, and that's for our younger camps, that do want that space. But the custodial staff only have to turn over this apartment once in the summer, and that's the big key. So apartments are really, really, I think, a plus, a perk. It doesn't have to be that way, but I think it's much better. It's much better for you because you don't have to deal with sort of flipping apartments in the summer frequently if you have a long-term guest. Do you have the facility available for the entire summer? All of us have to work with our facility staff that are doing renovations, taking buildings and wings offline. Fortunately, one of our large groups at Emory that stay with Elijah in the summer are our ministers through the Candler School of Theology. And they're here for 5 weeks, but it's the last 5 weeks of the summer. And so we sort of move them around to the places that are getting renovated for the first 5 weeks of the summer. We try to cram as much into those and take as many offline for 5 weeks as we can and sort of backfill with course of study. So we're not taking something offline all summer, but they're going to be here for longer periods of time. So you have to have space available for a whole 6 weeks or a whole 8 weeks. Coordinating with residence life, move in and move out. We really push the envelope at Emory, and I'm sure you do at Georgia Tech as well. Particularly with the CDC. The CDC, if you haven't been to Emory, is right next door. It's 1 block down the street. So we get a ton of CDC graduate students and researchers and interns in the summer. And they always want to stay until August 10th or 12th, which is, overlaps with early arrivals, right? And that can be tough. So just put your negotiating hat on and say, well, I'll give you this space if I can have this space for this group of people. And what we've done is, we've tried to end SAHIP July 30th, but we are a little bit flexible with these VIP clients that we want to keep that are good business. And beg and ask for, 100 apartments or 50 of the apartments to keep a little bit later. When is your commencement date, right? You have to keep that in mind. Our calendar changed this year. It's a little off, which is impacting our intern housing. So we have to sort of update that from year to year based on when commencement is. And then, of course, you have to consider what kind of summer school program your campus has. At Emory, Elijah has more flexibility to use our apartments for intern housing because we have a really small summer school population. We also put summer school in the tower, which are also apartments that are great and beautiful and wonderful, but they have shared bedrooms. The rest of our apartments don't. So we're putting our interns in places where they don't have to share a bedroom with anyone else because we really don't have the time or energy to negotiate roommate conflicts with interns, right? And we've had, in my 13 years doing this, very, very few, maybe 2 problems that I can remember with interns and apartment conflicts or folks in an apartment that were unhappy and wanted to move to a different apartment because of like a personality thing. So it's pretty low maintenance if you set it up to be that way, right? We're giving them apartments with lots of space. They have everything we can provide them at their convenience. We make it as easy as possible. And it's pretty much on autopilot for the summer, barring facility problems, of course. But
I was going to ask, how do you handle disciplinary or conduct issues that happen with guests that are not necessarily affiliated with Emory?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. So the question is, how do you handle disciplinary or conduct issues with guests that aren't Emory students? So we have our same sort of on-call staff, and basically our contract allows us to remove you or do what we need to do based on if you're not agreeing to our terms, which include all of the conduct issues you can think of. So There are 3 cases that I can remember. 2 are the same thing and 1 very interesting one. A maintenance worker went into an apartment 2 years ago to do a filter change, just the preventative maintenance. And when he went into this apartment, there was a handgun. And we don't allow guns on our campus, right? So I worked closely with Emory police. We called the student, the police came and took the weapon and put it in their locker. I actually met with the student at the police station, I guess, because I didn't know what I was getting into. And the student was great. I mean, I felt the campus where he came from, he's allowed to have a weapon. And it didn't occur to him. I mean, he signed a contract saying he wouldn't have a weapon, but it just didn't occur to him. But, because of the contract authority, we met in the police station and I said, you're gonna need to pack and leave campus now. And you can come to EPD later to get this. So, in that case, I had the authority to kick him out, and he was very embarrassed and sad. And then the other case that we've gotten twice is we have Elijah mentioned the on-campus outdoor swimming pool. It's beautiful, Olympic-sized pool right in the middle of all these apartments. And a couple of our interns over the years have broken in and gone skinny dipping at night. And so both times we're able to figure out who the students were and basically handle the situation, which was revoking the pass to the rec center. So.
And that's typically, it's revoking their access to the rec center, which also includes a pool, because that's really a really cool perk that they have, and that, and then possibly just kicking them off campus. Those are the 2 things that we've experienced and haven't been major.
Have you had any?
Let's see, a couple years ago, I got handcuffed and we evicted him, and just drugs a lot of times, finding weed and narcotics and stuff like that. It doesn't happen often though. For the numbers that we bring in, for the duration that they're there, it does not happen often. One of the things that we do rely on is residence life, because they are trained in those areas, especially with mediation, with judicial and those kinds of things. So if it's something that is not major, we really rely on our hall directors and RAs to kind of mediate that. If it's something major, then I typically get to show up with the police. But it doesn't happen often.
There's actually one other example I had this summer, which made me, I come from residence life, right? John didn't, Elijah didn't, but I did dust off my res life hat. We had a person in a program, right? I run, one of our clients is Kaplan. They have a very intense MCAT study course. I mean, these students get up at 7 a.m., they study till midnight, every minute, every day, with a Kaplan instructor to get ready. And so it's a very high pressure program. And there was a student in their program that was having some mental health issues. And I spoke to Kaplan, and their person on the ground really was trained, but wasn't as comfortable as I am with those conversations. So I accompanied him to meet with the student, and we asked her to leave. Just make sure your contract makes it really easy for you to do that at any point, I would say. It's my advice.
Usually it is with external people. It's much easier to use.
Do you just modify what you would have for summer school students, or is it a completely redone?
It's a little bit redone. And go to our website, print it out, use it.
Yeah, we include the student code of conduct.
Yeah.
Okay. So ideas for getting started. The first thing is to analyze, is your campus ready for this kind of business? Will your facilities division, will they be on board? Can you get them on board? Because like Sherry said, I see my friend over here smiling because that's probably one of your headaches, right? Is to try to get those folks to be willing to flip this number of beds right after commencement and room switch. We are very fortunate. We've got a great facilities staff. We've got a great custodial staff. We have a good relationship with them, and they understand the value of doing this. Your other campus services partners, is there buy-in from those folks? The parking office, will they give you a discounted long-term rate that you can bundle in and market? Is your Wi-Fi access strong? I can tell you that's the first thing you're going to hear about. If your internet access isn't strong, if it goes down, if you don't have the bandwidth, you're going to hear about it. We talked about library and gym access and just the staff support. Is your division, is your administration, are they going to provide you with the support that you need and the staffing that you need to run this? I know Sherry made a good point that, Emory, it doesn't require as many staff, and luckily for us, we get to partner with Residence Life, but it still definitely requires folks to oversee and to be available consistently when you have this number of people on your campus throughout an entire summer. So do you have that staff support from either Residence Life or your administration, or can you hire folks in? Check in with local campuses that are doing the same thing. We just finished a rate comparison analysis. Emory got to be a part of that. I don't know if I told you, we did. We included you in our model in order to determine, what's the market look like? What are your competitors doing? And also, how can you partner with them? Which we have a great relationship with Emory, and Emory has helped us out a ton. I hope Georgia Tech can help Emory. So ask them questions. Ask the intern programs that are already established. Ask them for advice, and utilize those folks and their knowledge and experience.
And to that point, I'm going to ask John, can you share that study with us as well?
No, not going that far.
Also, what you could do is, I think I mentioned this earlier, was just contacting your local businesses and just asking them, do they hire summer interns? And if so, how many? Because if you have a company that you may assume there'd be a big company but only have one intern, that could not be a benefit to you. So the dates of their internship, that is key, because you want to make sure that aligns with your dates that you're available to provide the housing to the interns. And if they did have interns, where did they live last year? Because you want to know, okay, they live at such and such place. Well, let's contact them, and then what are their rates? And what is the proximity from that location to the internship site? And one thing that we promote too is the security benefits. So it's just, there are a lot of things that you can use to your advantage, but being on a college campus that students are accustomed to. So if they're staying at a motel that may not have been as secure as they wanted to be, but your campus offers that. Those are things that students are looking for. And also, John mentioned, it's the Wi-Fi. It is huge, and they're bringing smart TVs and they needing all of that connected. So those are the key questions that you usually ask to help you get started.
Good deal.
Great.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much. Any questions here? And we'll repeat the question too, so Dean can hear it.
So you had mentioned some rates based on the number of beds in a unit. Do you have a different set of rates, or do you have a flat rate?
We do. We have. So the question is about rates, and do we have a standard rate, and then could we develop a tier? Yes. So we have a standard rack rate, which is the rate you'll see on the website. But we also develop those customized tiers based off of what the organization is going to be bringing to the table. Yesterday, we just sent one out to Home Depot. We provided one to Coke last year. Coke actually hit their numbers last summer and was able to get that discount that went into the first tier. But if you see our website, it's a standard rack rate, and then we have customized. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you only use apartment-style housing for your internships? And do you had any groups outside of residence halls?
So we do not use standard residence halls, but I believe John does.
For one group of folks, we do. An internal group, yes. We do. We use traditionals because that's what suits them better, and they pay a lower rate for that too. But the majority are apartments. Yeah, the majority are apartments. 90%, 90+%.
From time to time too, we'll get those requests where they're just looking for a cheaper rate. And so we have our tower apartment where I do reserve a few apartments there. And the biggest difference between a tower and our URC and CRC apartments is that the laundry is not located in the apartment. So they have to use a community style laundry unit. So.
John, what's your current rack rate?
I have to be careful about sharing rates. Sorry, Elijah. Yeah. The question was, what are your rates? Yes, you can look at the website. I know it's kind of a silly thing, but for our association, our conferencing association, we try to pay attention to the antitrust laws, and we don't share them. So just have a look at our website.
Yes.
We sometimes run into a problem for the non-students getting them into our Star Res and then having them access to interim or access cards and everything else. What housing software are you using, and how are you getting non-students into that type of?
So the question was, we have problems getting non-students into our housing software Star Res, which gives us problems with cards and access, which is a great question. Our housing assignments team, which I also oversee, uses THD Adirondack. But for summer conferencing, we use Seattle Tech. And I know that seems absolutely ridiculous, but we have used Seattle Tech way longer than we even had housing assignment software, and it's really worked. They've added a lot to their package. We do registrations now. We use it for a lot of other things. We purchase separate cards for the summer. So John's really fortunate because they get a Buzz card. It's really cute. It's like what the students have. At Emory, they have a summer conferences card. I buy, thousands of Prox cards, and we program them differently, not through our regular housing assignment software.
And with the Prox cards too, it's an upfront fee, so it's not we're buying cards every summer. So we reuse those same cards every summer. Some of them will break, and we charge the students for breaking them. So it's just an upfront fee that we pay initially, and then it's just replacing them as they are damaged.
We actually are similar to that. I wish they were just regular student cards because it would be a little bit easier. It's just unfortunately we can't run them specifically through our banner system to create student type access. So we do have conference cards that are cute. They got some cool logos on them. Our Buzz card folks allowed us to put some cool logos on there, but what we end up having to do, and it is that process right there is way more cumbersome than I would like it to be. It's gotten better over time. We've approached our folks about it numerous times to try to streamline it, and that's a reason why we have a deadline in late spring, because there's a number of things that we have to do before even the first person checks in, and one of them is to prepare those and get all that access.
And that actually should have been one of our bullets earlier, like the campus partners to work with ahead of time to make sure you can do this. The card office would be key.
It is. If you look at the steps that our card office has to go through in order to just create access for one of these external folks, it would make your head spin. And if you're a logistics person, it'd probably drive you crazy. So we're working on that. Yeah.
And to add to myself and the assignments team, we're really close. So we have to make sure that, because of early arrivals on the back end of the summer, making sure that students are not arriving to apartments where we still have interns living. So we have to communicate constantly during the summertime and making sure that we're putting students in apartments where they're not going to have early arrivals. And so it's a lot of coordination back and forth with our assignments team to avoid any potential issues.
Because we're not in one system, right?
Correct.
One of the follow-ups from the summer was from the housing staff, the residence life staff. They're like, why can't you just be an Adirondack? Why can't you just do this? And so I asked, actually my assignments team is here, Rebecca, if we could just block off what Elijah's using with his dates in our software, just block it off so everyone knows. So that's what we're doing to work around it. I mean, that's probably the toughest part of your job, right? Is sort of doing that. Otherwise, this is easy. Any other questions? Since we have an appropriate amount of time.
That's right. We're probably right on time now.
Yeah. 10 more minutes.
Okay.
So just one last plug. John and Elijah and I are all also involved in ACE-I, which is an association that helps folks do, like this one, that do conferences on campus. As a regional leader, and I'm on the board.
And the incoming president, too. She's the incoming president of the International Association.
But if you all have any questions, we're here to help you. We love this program. This is like one of the highlights of our jobs because it's just great business. And so we love helping other campuses get started. We've both done that for a lot of your colleagues. So feel free to come ask us anything after the presentation.
And just, one thing to remember too is that, for us, we have a pretty robust conference operation. This is about 25% of our revenue, so it can make a major impact.
50% of our revenue. 49% of our revenue.
I got it there.
Oh, yeah.
Both of you are one-stop shops.
Correct, certified, yes. Yeah.
Yes, uncertified. Couldn't do that.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thank you.